The purchase obligation of associates to the Romneys was non-recourse. The sale was combined with a leaseback of the property by associates to the Romneys. The Romneys were responsible for all of the typical expenses of owning the motel property, including all utility costs, taxes, assessments, rents, charges, etc. Finally, the Romneys were allowed to propose new capital improvements, which associates would be required to either build for themselves or allow the Romneys to construct with compensating modifications in rent or purchase price. Figures 2-1 and 2-2 might be suitable alternative depictions of this fact pattern. In the center, there's the property. To the right is associates, in which the title of the property goes to the associates and the improvements from associates go to the property. And associates is to pay prepaid interest, monthly installments or 10 years, and a balloon payment to the Romneys. And the Romneys are to cover the cost of the property, and they have the Romneys are receiving a lease back. That's 2.1, and 2.2 has a graph about the Romneys on the left and the associates on the right. There's the mortgage agreement, the title, plus payments of costs, lease back, and improvements to property, prepaid interest, monthly installments for 10 years, and the balloon payment. The last four going to the Romneys. A dashed line is used for the balloon payment to emphasize its prospective character, more accurately, its fictitious character. The parties never intended for it to be paid. So, as the diagrams show, the Romneys sell the property and immediately rent it under the leaseback. But the drawings also suggest something further. If the costs and improvements are of equal value, and if the Romneys' rental payments are equivalent to associates' loan payments, then nothing seems to have occurred except some paper shuffling. This recognition was critical to the court's holding, which denied the desired tax benefits and can be readily appreciated from Figure 2-2. If this tax case did not prove sufficiently entertaining, here's a secured transaction example. Once again, some background first. Secured transactions bear great similarity to the transaction encountered in the Franklin case above, and in that collateral is used to support a debt. However, the subject matter involves personal property, like cars and refrigerators, instead of land. In a typical transaction, the buyer walks away with goods on the promise of paying for them in installments. The seller, called the secured party, retains a security interest in the sold goods, meaning that she can retrieve the goods should the buyer default. The agreement covering the transaction is called a conditional sales contract. It is almost never non-recourse because the seller knows that the value of already used property will probably not suffice to offset the buyer's remaining obligation after the default. Therefore, the buyer remains personally on the hook. Like any debt, the conditional sales contract can be sold or assigned to a third party for collection.